Hey everyone, welcome into the fourth annual Nostalgia Junkies mock draft. Um, I'm if I'm talking a little low, my wife and child are in the bed, so I may not be extremely loud. Hopefully you can hear me. But anyways, like I said, this is the fourth year of doing this. The last three have just been me solo. This year, 2023, is I didn't start out thinking this would be one of the hardest years to mock, but as I've thought about it, and as there's subtle changes right at the top, um, the day-to-day rumors, I can really see this one being a little chaotic when the time comes. So don't be surprised, like usual, if I get this very, very wrong, and I'll just try my best. I'll also explain some crazy stuff I've got going on in here. I only went bold on really a few things, so we'll see how it goes. But anyways, number one, we have the Carolina Panthers selecting quarterback Bryce Young from Alabama. I think Bryce Young was the best college quarterback the last couple years in terms of just what he was able to do. Not everything that he accomplished, but basically his processing is just off the charts. The feel when there's a pass rush, being able to get away and escape and make plays happen. He's just a very, very smart player. Obviously, people are gonna, you know, say things about his frame or his height, or I haven't heard as much about his arm strength. I think he's okay there, but if it was me, this is what I would do, and I do think the Panthers will pick Bryce Young at the end of the day. And that takes us to number two. We have the Houston Texans. And this is where the rumors are swirling about what's going to happen. And really, whatever does happen here has a major trickle effect to the rest of the draft, which is why I kind of decided to play it safe here and ignore the latest rumors. We're about a week out from the draft, so for context, that's the kind of stuff I'm hearing right now is the stuff we're hearing 1 week away from the draft. But I'm going to have the Texans taking C.J. Stroud, quarterback from Ohio State. As you know, I'm a Georgia fan. You see my bulldog there. We've played Bryce Young and C.J. Stroud, and they've both lit us up. So I think both guys are really awesome. The one game we had against C.J. Stroud, I mean, he looked every bit as good as Bryce Young did. Only thing is maybe he's not as consistent with that, but he showed that he's capable. So there's a chance that CJ Stroud is the best pro to come out of this draft, especially if he wants to use his legs more. But I just think Houston, I mean, just given the plan and the new regime, I think it'd be nice to have a good young stud quarterback to build around. All right, so number three, I decided to, I know this is a hot spot for a trade. I decided to keep the Arizona Cardinals in place here because they do have a new general manager. And I think you have an easy home run pick if you just stay put and, just solidify your first pick, as being one of the most, I don't want to say can't miss, but like a great player, all the makings of a great player. And we're going to have the Cardinals picking Will Anderson Jr., the edge from Alabama. I think this dude is a really good player. If at all possible, I wish the Falcons could get him, but I know we're just going to always be a few spots away from the players that we really need for that pass rush to get better. But yeah, I think the Cardinals could just hit it out of the park without having to move or anything. So keep it simple. Number four, we have the Indianapolis Colts. And I can't believe I'm saying this compared to what I thought a month or two ago, but I have the Colts taking Anthony Richardson, the quarterback from Florida. My thought here is we all know that Anthony Richardson could be the best athlete on the field at any given time, and we have seen him take over games such as the Utah game, week one this past year. And he played well in other games like Tennessee and Vanderbilt that they still lost. So it does make you wonder about the team compared to the player. But his completion percentage was really low, like 53, 54%. Um, the interceptions, I think, were pretty high, turnovers. Uh, so at the end of the day, it's just if you're confident that you can really do him justice and coach him up and put him in the right position to play, I would think AR is probably the least ready to start week one out of the top quarterbacks in the draft. But we'll see. And even though he's a Florida Gator, I don't have anything against him. I think it'll be fun if he actually succeeds. I'm just surprised at how much he got hyped. So, and I'm trying to predict here, and there's a little bit of what I would do in here as well. But I do think the Colts may take the chance on him. All right, number 5 we have Seattle, and I would love for this pick to be Jalen Carter. I know he's had a tumultuous offseason. I'm going to go pessimistic on this, though, and say that this offseason has caused him to drop a little bit. I mean, it already has, but I do think it is possible he makes it past the Seahawks because no one ever really knows what the Seahawks are going to do. So I'm going to give the Seahawks Tyree Wilson, the edge from Texas Tech. Kind of fills a similar need, but it's, edge rush, probably the second best one in this draft behind Will Anderson. And it seems like his stock is really rising too. I'm starting to see him potentially get mocked at number 2. So, yeah, I think that could be the sneaky pick there. Number 6, we have the Detroit Lions. And this is where I may regret this a little bit, but I wanted to do at least one trade for a quarterback because I just feel like there's going to be some, and it's almost impossible to predict. I looked at some of the quarterback needy teams, and I didn't realize so many of them had a bit of a plan in place. I didn't even realize the Buccaneers had Baker Mayfield when I came up with this idea, but I'm still going to roll with it because I think it could still make some sense if you believe in this player. But I'm going to have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers trading with Detroit. I did use, I think, the PFF mock simulator, or one of them, if it wasn't PFF, where the Tampa Bay had to give up their first round pick, basically swap first round picks, give up their second round pick, and give up their first next year to move up from number 19 to number 6. And I have them taking Will Levis, the quarterback from Kentucky. Will Levis, what I can say about him, because that's another player that Georgia played, is that he is tough. He never ceases to impress me with his tough yardage runs. Like, he really doesn't go down easy, which, hopefully there's no wear and tear there. He's not as athletic as Anthony Richardson. He does have a pretty good arm, from what I could tell. The numbers aren't quite there, but the talent wasn't really there either. So, am I a Will Levis believer? Not necessarily, but I mean, I've heard enough reasoning to say, okay, if you can develop him, maybe he would be a good investment. And I did hear Joel Klatt saying that he has really noticed that a lot of the project quarterbacks have really been more successes than failures lately in the modern day NFL, just with the way the rules have changed and offenses have changed and the RPO stuff coming into play. So there's a good chance all these guys work out to an extent. So, I mean, if Tampa Bay wants to go up and get Will Levis and have a plan for the future, go for it. Number 7, we have the Las Vegas Raiders. I've got them taking cornerback Devin Witherspoon. This isn't as much a me pick as it's something I've seen pretty often, them taking him. I'm not even sure if he's really cornerback 1 in this draft or not, but obviously he's very good. But yeah, Devin Witherspoon from Illinois, I do need to look at some of his tape just for fun, see how good he is. Number 8, we have the Atlanta Falcons. I think I could say under this new regime, the new general manager, I think I've been surprised a little bit by their picks the last 2 years. I mean, maybe I predicted it. I don't even know. I'd have to go back and look. And a lot of people have mocked it correctly with Kyle Pitts and Drake London. But I can't believe I'm making this pick. A lot of people have us taking cornerback Christian Gonzalez from Oregon. I just thought, he's a great player, but we'll mix it up and just do something a little crazier. Um, so I've got us taking running back Bijan Robinson. This is as early as I've seen him drafted, period. Um, but to justify that, I would say that the Falcons need another dynamic playmaker on offense. We do have Tyler Algier, who had a really good season last year. Uh, most of the time it is a running back by committee thing, and we got Arthur Smith, who came from working with Derrick Henry with the Titans. But my main justification is probably a little too simple. It's just that finally this year the Falcons had free agent spending money, and they spent by far most of it on defense. And they even, addressed corner trading for Jeffrey Okuda. Um, we still have uh, Hayward at cornerback for at least another year. And obviously we have the phenomenal AJ Terrell locking it down on one side. So I'm just going to say, hey, maybe Arthur Smith wants to have that dominant running back again. And we get Bijan, and then the offense might just take off. Who knows? Number 9, we have Chicago, and this is where I think this is the floor, I think, for Jalen Carter. As far as he would drop, the Falcons certainly could have taken him, and I would have been happy with the player as long as he gets, his head on straight. But from what I've heard, the Bears love Jalen Carter. He will not drop below them, worst case scenario. He can be a great pro. He can be as great as he wants to be. So hopefully, that'll get situated. But yeah, the reason I didn't have the Falcons taking him is because the Falcons do not draft many UGA players, and definitely not first round. Maybe I'll eat those words, but I doubt it. All right, number 10, we have the Eagles, and have them taking cornerback Christian Gonzalez, Oregon. I think they don't have a lot of team needs, but I do think Christian Gonzalez is a great player, and I think that's the closest position they have that they really do need. And if not, they can always have some really strong depth there, which is something they're always good at. Number 11, we have the Tennessee Titans. I have them taking offensive tackle Paris Johnson Jr. from Ohio State. Obviously, I think he's really great, and most people have him as the tackle one in this class. So we're going to roll with that. Get them some offensive line help. Get the most out of Derrick Henry while he's still in his prime. Next, number 12, we have the Houston Texans again. I think DeMeco Ryans being the new head coach. 2 picks in the first round. We went quarterback with the first pick in this mock. So I think there's no chance he doesn't get at least one star defensive player to build around. And I've got them taking Nolan Smith, the edge from UGA. Nolan is an awesome leader, not just a great player. If you look at his highlights, and I do say highlights, not tape, he makes a lot of phenomenal plays. He's very athletic. He, absolutely did great at the combine and boosted his stock. I do think he was on his way to having actually a pretty great season, but he got hurt halfway through. I think maybe during the Florida game. So he even missed the Tennessee game and, all the games after. So he'll be recovered, and I hope that he ends up in a situation that he'll, give where they get the most out of him. I think he could be a really great pro. He is a great person. Number 13, another UGA player. We got the New York Jets taking offensive tackle Broderick Jones. I think Broderick, this was his first full year starting at tackle for Georgia, and he did not give up a sack. I think a lot of people think he just doesn't have as much experience as the others, which that's fair, but the sample size is really doggone good, and how you rank the tackles may depend on how you feel their ceiling, how high their ceiling is. So hopefully they see Broderick Jones as having a really high ceiling, and if they get Aaron Rodgers, this would be a pick that would benefit that. All right, next we have number 14, the New England Patriots. It feels like if anybody's going to trade down, it could be the Patriots. So I don't know if they'll get any calls or not. I'm going to play it safe and just say they stick it out and take offensive tackle / potentially guard Peter Skronsky from Northwestern. Just feels like a Bill Belichick pick. A guy who can play along the offensive line and probably going to be an awesome pro. And just when you think New England has all these other needs, they're probably just going to take offensive line. That is my logic. So number 15, Green Bay, and I've gone back and forth with Wesley about this. He told me do not draft a tight end, even though that's probably the most popular position I've seen mocked to them. I did listen to a Green Bay insider talking to Rich Eisen the other day who said, based on their history, there's no way they're taking a tight end. They haven't taken a tight end first round since 2000 and haven't taken a wide receiver first round since 2002, if I'm not mistaken, which seems to check out because every year we laugh about them not taking a receiver. We did think it would be funny if they did take a tight end this year. But anyways, I'm just going to give them a guy who you kind of see mocked all up and down the draft. And we're going to roll with edge Miles Murphy from Clemson. I just tried to think of someone who is there that can really contribute to the pass rush. They're usually going along the lines of scrimmage with their picks. I mean, it's probably why they've stayed so good for so long. But we'll see. We'll see where Miles goes. I've seen him go pretty late in the first round and then towards the middle and around pick 20 as well. So maybe that'll be a good spot for him. Let's see. Next, we have number 16, the Washington Commanders, offensive tackle Darnell Wright from Tennessee. This is a guy whose stock has been skyrocketing the last probably week or two, if not longer. I see him, getting mocked higher and higher and higher, sometimes even top 10. So it's possible he goes earlier than this, but for now, that's what I'm going to have. Let's see. Number 17, we have Pittsburgh Steelers, and I couldn't resist having them taking cornerback Joey Porter Jr. from Penn State. If they do that, all is right with the world. No complaints. It just feels right. Number 18. So, just as a reminder, in this draft, we do have, because of the trade with Tampa Bay, we have Detroit with their normal pick at 18, and then they're going to also be drafting at number 19. So, I'll do two players back to back. And it doesn't matter the order, but first I'll go wide receiver Jackson Smith and Jigba. In terms of accuracy with the mock draft, I'm really scared that I don't have the first receiver going until number 18. But compared to the last several drafts, and I think last year's class was a bit of a step down, even though a lot of the rookie receivers did really well. It wasn't like the classes where you had, Jamar Chase and Justin Jefferson, Jalen Waddle, Jerry Jeudy, like all those dudes that were just killing it at, especially Alabama and LSU, but there were some other great ones out there too. It feels like we've taken a step back in terms of the wide receivers in this class. A lot of people tend to think that the top wide receivers in this class are only wide receiver 2s. I'm not sure how I feel about that. It could be true. A lot of people think Jackson Smith and Jigba has the best chance to be a wide receiver 1. I mean, I think the dude's really good. So, and Detroit can just add to an already potent offense. So that's what we'll roll with for that first pick. And then number 19, Detroit again. We'll take cornerback Deontay Banks from Maryland. They just lost Jeffrey Okudah. I think he had his best year as a pro last year, so they're going to need to have a new plan at corner. And I think Banks is, this is a good spot for him to be taken, so we'll roll with that. Number 20, we have the Seattle Seahawks. This one is another one that could come back to bite me really bad. I heard he could slip, but then there's also teams that just seem like they love him. Edge Lucas Van Ness from Iowa. He's going to go first round. I've just seen it be sort of turbulent on where. Realistically, maybe Miles Murphy doesn't go before Lucas Van Ness, but I'm just trying to do my best to guess what will happen the day of. I think he may be a guy who didn't have a whole lot of starts, if I remember correctly. So, maybe some of the combine love has worn off. But either way, I think he's going to be a really good player, and somewhere like Seattle will be a great place for him. Number 21, we have the Los Angeles Chargers. I have them taking wide receiver Jordan Addison. So now we'll start to see, quite a few more receivers being taken once that first domino falls. Why Jordan Addison? I just kept him home in California since he played at USC last year. And I just think seeing him with Justin Herbert would be really fun. Also, somewhere around here, the tight ends have got to start coming off the board too. Number 22, we have the Baltimore Ravens taking wide receiver Quentin Johnson, TCU. For my money, and I could be wrong, for my money, I actually think Johnston probably has the best chance of being a wide receiver one in this class. Not saying there couldn't be multiple, but to me, he has the look, the athleticism, and just the playmaking ability. Um, so yeah, I think he could. I mean, it would be awesome to see Baltimore finally have a receiver like that. It's been a while coming. Number 23, we have the Minnesota Vikings. I have them taking the very first safety off the board, Brian Branch, out of Alabama. So I think Brian Branch, not so much because of how good he is, but because of the devaluation of the safety position. He's teetering late first, early second round. So I'm hoping one of the teams that needs a safety will just go ahead and snag him. Because I really hate when positions are devalued, like running back and safety. Um, I don't know. I just think football's better when you realize how good those positions can be when you have the right player in position. So we're going to roll with that. Number 24, the Jacksonville Jaguars, Duval, taking finally the first tight end off the board, Dalton Kincaid from Utah. And then, we all love Trevor and wish him success, so we're going to give him another weapon. And, hope that works out wonderfully there if it happens. Number 25, we have the New York Giants. Have them taking wide receiver Zay Flowers from Boston College. This is Mel Kiper's one of his favorite players, I think, in this draft. Maybe his wide receiver one. And I've not gotten to really see him play. I just know that he's some people's wide receiver 2 in this class, right behind Jackson Smith-Njigba. And I think it'd be fun to see Daniel Jones with another weapon after the solid, promising year he just had this past year. So, number 26, we have Dallas taking tight end Michael Mayer from Notre Dame. I think like introducing a young, talented tight end could be really fun in this offense. I do wonder, if any consideration will be given to running back, or if I think Dallas really does draft pretty well, and I would not be surprised if they don't wait to try to get Zeke Elliott's replacement, in later rounds. But I just wonder if they'd consider that. Speaking of running back, number 27, we have the Buffalo Bills, and I have them taking running back Jahmyr Gibbs from Alabama by way of Georgia Tech. I think Jahmyr Gibbs is really talented. He's a great pass-catching running back. Seems like the Bills are experimenting, trying to get the right guys in there. I know they took James Cook last year. It seems like he did well, but I think they're still looking for either like a number one running back or just someone to make them more dynamic, or even just carry them when it's late in the year and there's bad weather and they just need a strong running game. I don't know that Jahmyr Gibbs is like the toughest runner, but he's just electric, and I think he could be really good. And then Josh Allen getting to throw him the ball will be a lot of fun to watch. Number 28, we have the Cincinnati Bengals. Have them taking cornerback Emmanuel Forbes from Mississippi State. I think Forbes is a guy who could go late first, early second. Again, I haven't watched a lot of film on him, but I feel like cornerback is one of the best positions in this draft. This is a weaker draft. I don't know if everyone's aware, but I've heard, different ones like Todd McShay say that there's maybe only something like 14 to 17 guys he would normally give a first round grade to in this draft. I've heard other people say there's only 14 or 15 guys that they would say are foundational. I don't know exactly how to word that one. It's just, it seems like there's not actually enough players to fill the first round based on how we judge that. And I mean, it really shows how different it can be from year to year, because, either last year's or the year before's was like one of the more talented drafts we'd ever seen. I think it was Todd McShay who said compared to the defensive players in last year's draft, it's like hard to look at some of the ones in this draft once you start getting past the initial Will Anderson and those guys and say they really stack up. But, I hope they're wrong. I hope all these players are really successful. But yeah, Emmanuel Forbes to Cincinnati and just shore up the pass defense. I think that's always a good idea when they have those clashes with Patrick Mahomes. Number 29, we have the New Orleans Saints. I have them taking defensive tackle Brian Brzee from Clemson. This has been a pretty popular pick in other mocks. and I like Brian Brzee, so I think that he would really help them out. And that would be a good pick. I hate that he slid this far. I'm kind of surprised that he slid this far, but his stock just kind of dipped throughout last season. Number 30, we have the Philadelphia Eagles again with their second first round pick. They take defensive tackle Kalijah Cansey from Pittsburgh. I think there's a pretty decent chance he actually goes before this. I'm just kind of late to the party on realizing how good he is, and kind of checking out some of his plays and everything. But yeah, I think that'll just help. If nothing else, he's depth if he's not starting right off the bat. And you could have a future of Kalijah Cansey and Jordan Davis on that defensive line and just keep the Eagles scary for a long, long time. Number 31, we have the Super Bowl winners, Kansas City Chiefs. I have them taking edge Will McDonald IV from Iowa State. And teams like the Chiefs are so good because they keep it stacked on the lines of scrimmage. And you may not always know their names, but the Chiefs seem to always have a good pass rush, and picks like that are why. And but yeah, so that concludes my thoughts on the NFL draft coming up in a week. To put a bow on it, I think, like I said, I think this draft can be chaotic, especially probably starting with the second pick if that does go Will Anderson. And then all of a sudden CJ Stroud's available. The Cardinals, I assume would not take a quarterback. So, does someone start trading up to number 3? They start fielding calls. If not, then the Colts will get their pick. And then you probably have a frenzy of unknown teams trying to get up into the top 10 if they really do love Anthony Richardson or Will Levis. And Will Levis may be the guy who falls out of the top 10, but I'm going to think that they, all 4 of the top guys go in the top 10. Hendon Hooker, I didn't give a lot of consideration to taking him in the first round for any team, but I do think it would be pretty cool if he did get taken. I do think he's a really good quarterback. Obviously, the Miami Dolphins, I probably should explain this first. There's 31 picks because the Miami Dolphins got busted for some sort of cheating scandal. I think there were a few elements to it, but I want to say it was the contact with Sean Payton that cost them their first round pick. So instead of 32 picks, we only have 31. So it was definitely a different kind of draft this year. Even though there were probably several quarterbacks taken, I think that position is weaker than other years. Not as bad as last year. Last year was really rough, I think. And like I said, the wide receiver has dipped from those really good drafts we had for a while there. I do think corner is a strength of this draft. Seems like tackle is maybe 4 or 5 deep. And then after that, it really kind of bottoms out. So yeah, it's an interesting draft. Maybe weaker than usual, but like all the drafts are fun. It's going to be a lot of fun. I always look forward to seeing where my Georgia guys go. Kenny McIntosh is going to make someone really happy when they get him on the roster. Xavier Truss is obviously not getting hyped up like he should. Look at Jamari Sawyer last year. But anyways, I'm not going to spend a lot of time ranting about that. Anyways, I hope you guys tune in. I said I was going to do it last year, and I guess I just got caught up busy. But this year, I'm really going to try to come back and review my picks. I tried to go tame on the trades and stuff just to give myself the best chance of trying to get a few picks right. And I think I'll get number 1 right. Even that's not guaranteed, but I think I'll get number 1. And after that, we'll just see. But anyways, thank you guys for watching, and if you like this, please let me know. Comment, like, subscribe. We're trying to get more content out, back to comic books and everything too, but I always enjoy doing this yearly and have a lot of fun. So thank y'all for watching, and have a great day.